Following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Cowboys Storyline with Nick Eatman.
What is up? Welcome to Cowboys Storyline. I am Nick Eatman here. It is March the 8th. We got a different time slot for you guys today. Had to shuffle some things around, but definitely wanted to get this show in before free agency, which starts this weekend, really. I mean, really Monday is where the first time that you can have the legal tampering period, but I'm sure there's been some conversations going on already around the league, see what the Cowboys might do, what other teams might do, what free agents might be headed elsewhere. I think that you're going to see that more than you'll see anything. You'll see more coming. It's going to be closer to all out than all in. I'll just have to say that. But we'll see. We'll see if the Cowboys can get creative and do some things, and that'll happen next week. I'm sure you guys will have plenty to say about that. You can call us 888-855-2297. Text us 817-290-3298. Now, another thing that we're doing today, and I've promoted several times, I've been talking about this for a while. I want to honor you guys, the fans. I've said it 1,000 times. You know, people kind of make fun of me about it. I say it all the time about this is y'all's show. We're just I'm here driving the bus. But I want to give back to you guys. I want to kind of honor some of the people that have really been here more than anybody, and have from the listening every day, from calling as much as possible, the texting, just really giving this show what it deserves, and it's the community of you guys and kind of knowing each other a little bit, and I think follow each other on Twitter and or Instagram or whatever, which is great. So we've kind of built this little storyline family in the first year, and it's exceeded every expectation I could possibly imagine. I mean, to think that there's been over 400 people that have either called or texted in this first season. I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't that. Maybe an extra zero from what I thought. So, I mean, it was really pretty awesome. So that's what we're going to do today. I kind of want to – I'll do that here in a second. I know we got some calls on the line. So let's go to that. Let's go to the calls. Start it off. Let's start it off. Mike in Apopka, Florida. How fitting. Mike, you there?
Nick, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, man?
Good, man. You kind of put me on blast. I had to make sure I moved around some work today.
Okay, I didn't put you on blast. You tweeted at me and said, "Don't forget about me," and I'm like, "No, I definitely don't forget about you. You're the OG. You're old school. You were there way back when me and Mickey were doing Tuesday night at the ranch, stuff like that. So you were the very first caller. Here we go. First caller of the show. So, and I hadn't heard from you since. That was kind of weird. I thought it might be Joe from Stanford or something, but no, like you were the very first caller, and then we haven't heard from you. But still, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
What do you got, Mike?
I listen every night that you're on, man. I never miss a show.
No.
And congrats on year one.
Thank you.
I think you're the best show on this platform. I know a lot of people agree with me on that. I think this show is really taking off because of you and all that you do and all that you give the fans. And you're one of us, man. I feel like I could sit next to you on Sunday and watch the games, and it'd be just like great. But I do have a quick question for you around like the free agency piece.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about Brock Hoffman and Lyle Collins and their impacts to what this team wants to do overall with this offensive line moving forward with all the moving parts there?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good question. Thanks, Mike. We're going to keep it rolling today. Appreciate that. Appreciate the nice words that you said. All right, Mike. Talking about free agency and some of the pieces that are here, Brock Hoffman is part of that. And if that doesn't get you excited, sorry. because that's the type of thing that you're going to be seeing a lot. I mean, this team's going to have to. They're going to have to kind of lean on some of their players that they already have that they like, that they said, you know what, every time we've given them a chance, they've played well. Maybe we'll give them more of an opportunity. Brock Hoffman could be one of those guys. TJ Bass is, I think, another. Both those guys could be competing at center this year. You know, we'll see if they get somebody in the draft as well. But I don't expect Tyler Biotish to be back. And I think that, you know, those two guys are candidates. Hoffman's played it more, but I think Bass, a little bit more body type there, of a bigger guy, and I think that, you know, he's going to have to develop into that position. But that's got to be an all off-season project if that's going to be the case. So I don't know about Lyle Collins. I don't see that necessarily happening. I don't think he's really in the plans to come back. But I do think that those Hoffman and Bass would be guys that I would throw in there. All right, let's go to Brian in Kansas City.
Good morning, sir.
Hey, Brian. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Beamer says I'm not supposed to be mad at you. What am I not being mad about?
Well, we'll see. I have to still throw this out. You know, the All-StoryLine team, and I'm going to do that here in a little bit. I don't know exactly the right time. There's going to be somebody on hold. Somebody's going to be on hold, and I'm sorry, but as we kind of roll through it.
Oh, you haven't done it yet. I didn't catch the very beginning, so I got you.
It yet. And you're not going to be mad. You're not going to be mad.
No, I understood what you meant. Somebody's got to be on hold the whole time you're doing the list. I got it.
But that's not what I was referring to. That's not what I was referring to. No, it's fine. You've called more than anybody. You've called more than anybody, and I appreciate that. And so you've definitely got a spot here on the team. But
I thought you might be mad at me because you said I broke the Excel spreadsheet.
It does go way off the page every time you call, which is appreciated. But I gotta scroll back. I'm not a wizard when it comes to Excel. I'm okay. I'm functional, but not a wizard.
Yeah, I got you, man. Well, you know what? I was going to ask about the offensive line too. So and that was going to be one of my questions: is do we think because they gave Lyle a look-see, you know, whether we thought anything came out of that? But I will say this, you know, I don't think that unless they trade up, which is unusual for the Cowboys, they haven't. You'll know the answer to this. They haven't traded up since Mo Claiborne, right?
In the first round, yeah, that seems right. Yeah.
So I don't think they're going to trade up, and they're not. Jackson Powers Johnson's not going to be, especially after Kelsey retired. There's at least 4 teams picking before us. So, but I think there's some other real quality centers, you know, if they wanted to trade back. You know, there's a couple other guys that I've heard the name Zach Frazier quite a bit from Broadus and the draft show guys saying, hey, you know, this is somebody to really look at, that he could be a draft back candidate, you know, like we did with Frederick. And so, but anyway, that was kind of my question. I was just curious if you thought Lyle Collins might be in the mix for next year. But anyway, I'll give you an old-time player that I don't think I've ever asked about before, and then I'll hang up and listen, brother. I was wondering if you had a good story about George Teague.
Yeah.
All right, man. Have a good one.
All right. You too. I just think that when it comes to your center position, you're going to you don't want to go into the draft just absolutely needing that, and so one way or another you use free agency or some way to kind of have a plan. So if it all just kind of messes up for you in the draft, at least you've got something to kind of fall back on. And I think for center, I think the fallback options are probably here, and then if they get something better, then they'll go that route. George Teague. I mean, there's so many things there with George. I mean, you know, he's remembered obviously for one play, really, and it wasn't even a play. It was just knocking, you know, T.O. off the star. He's also remembered for grabbing the flag right after 9/11, the first game back from 9/11 back in 2001, and he grabs the flag from somebody and runs it out through the tunnel. We have a lot of great videos and shots of that. It was really a cool moment. You know, we're playing football again, but it, you know, what had just happened certainly wasn't lost on everybody and even the players. I thought that was a really cool thing. But, a lot of people forget about George Teague. He had one of the greatest defensive games in the history of the franchise in a playoff game against Minnesota back in 1996. He was wearing number 30. He wasn't 31. He was number 30. Then he left in 97, comes back in 98, wore 31. But in 1996, he played a game against the Vikings where he had an interception for a touchdown. He had a forced fumble that led to a touchdown on the next play. He knocked the ball out of, I think the runner's name was Amp Lee, running into the end zone, about to score. He comes flying and pokes it out behind him. It goes through the end zone for a touchback. Saved a touchdown there, all in the first half. He had an amazing game. That's what I kind of remember about George Teague. Had some really awesome plays, but cool guy. I don't really have a whole lot of other stories, but him and Woodson together certainly really good. All right, let's go to Ray in Fort Worth.
Hey.
What's up, man?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good.
So, I was listening to, I got a question.
Okay.
But before I get to that, last show, a guy called in saying, we don't think you're going to do much because the Cowboys are comfortable, because, they're comfortable. I agree. Because you know why they're comfortable? Because the fans are just going to buy up, just going to do whatever. I remember 2 years ago, seeing fans crying on TV. I'd cry too if you had to pay all those high-priced tickets. So, I've gotten to the stage where I'm still a fan. Don't get me wrong, but they got to earn my fandom. When you got to earn it. I'm at the point they got to earn it. Jerry says going all in. Okay, well, what does that mean? So we'll see. I'm regular season. Okay, that's great. You got to earn my fandom back. I'm still a fan, but you got to earn it as far as me paying high-priced playoff tickets and buying merchandise and all that stuff. Because as long as that keeps happening, they're going to be comfortable. So my question, what would you rather have? What do you think about getting Saquon Barkley? Because I struggle between Saquon Barkley and a center. And the Bills just had a slew of cuts. And they just cut the center.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you could feel, which one would you rather have? If you had to pick one big splash in free agency.
Yeah.
Because if you get Saquon Barkley in here, if you could, I don't know. I'd rather have Saquon Barkley than Derrick Henry. Because Saquon Barkley can do so much more.
Me too. I agree with
All
you.
right.
Not that many people think that way, but I do. I'm just going to tell you, I don't think that's happening. I really don't. I don't believe that the fans think that the situation is as dire as it is because we didn't think that way a month ago, 3 weeks ago. But really kind of looking at what it is and how bad it is and how worse it's going to be next year, I don't think you're going to see a lot of moves at all. And the sad part is, it's not even going to be like signing your own guy. Like last year, they signed their own guys. They got some trades, and then let some other guys go. I don't know if they're going to even be able to do that. So it's not a want. It's just really of kind of how this thing's been structured, and just hate to say it, it's just not. So Saquon Barkley sounds great. I'll be shocked if they get a running back like that. I think the best option to get a running back that's a free agent is probably Pollard. That's what I would think. But
yeah.
I know. I don't want to be the guy. I don't want to be. It's not me.
I mean, because we're not close to a playoff team. We're not a Super Bowl contender. I mean, look, the Giants blew our doors off with a bunch of first and second year, third year players. They're super young, and they blew our doors off.
Packers.
That to me says we're not even close. We're not even close, and as long as they continue this same old thing, not doing much in free agency, just expect more of the same. Mm-hmm. So until they change, I just really don't have no hopes. And we're playing a first place schedule.
Yep.
Let's not forget that.
Yep.
So
you're right.
So you think we're going to run into 11, 12 wins next year, and they just do nothing? I mean, thanks, Nick, for shooting my hopes down. But I kind of agree with you. We're going to get our doors. Honestly, I'm just being real because that's how I roll.
Yeah.
I'm a Cowboys fan, but we're going to get our doors blown off.
All right.
I just think we're not going to do much. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Ray. I know. And he said I agree with you. We're going to get our doors blown off. I didn't say that. I'm not saying that. I think they'll be. I still think this is a good football team. I mean, this is an opportunity to get better. You try to get better in March and April, and I don't know if they're going to get appreciably better just by the names and stuff like that. And they're probably going to get a little worse because you'll have some good players that are leaving. So, but you know what? This team is. Let's see what happens. Let's see if they can get creative. But I do think there's going to be more of these players leaving than coming back. And but I was told that they will do absolutely nothing, and I don't believe that. I still think they're going to do something here. All right. Let's flip the script a little bit here. All right, we do have one on the line. We're going to wait on this a little bit. Let's start this off. This is more of a wrap for the entire 2023-24 season. As we're heading into free agency, it's kind of when the new league year starts. This is where we're going to put a bow on this season. The first season here for Cowboys storyline. And as I said before, I couldn't be more excited about this. It's helped me connect with the fan base more than ever. And I love that because that's how I started. I was a fan, and when Mike says, I think you're one of us, I appreciate that. Obviously at times you can't be as much of a fan as you want, but you still want them to win, want them to succeed. I want to see playoff games and levels that I've never been to before. And, and that's what keeps it exciting. So with that being said, Chris, let's get this thing rolling here. I want to. You say you got some music for me. You can play me. We're gonna do this. I'm gonna review. Okay. All right, we're gonna do this. The 2023/24 All-StoryLine team. I kind of took this like an all Madden team John Madden used to do, and he kind of would make his own rules up and say, hey, it's my team. I'll do what I want to do. And that's kind of what I've done. So every team got to have some support staff. You got to have coaches, or you got to have people that, kind of run this thing. In our case, the producer. It starts here. There's only one, and you couldn't have a better one. Chris Beam, you're on the All-StoryLine team, all right? You're the producer. Appreciate everything that you do, how much you care about making this product go, and you'll call me, text me late at night. What if we do this? What if we do that? That kind of stuff was so awesome, and I couldn't appreciate you more for what you've done. So there's one producer, there's only one spot, and you got it. Boom. Everyone needs their support staff too. So, people that don't call as much, but they listen and all that, and they've kind of helped behind the scenes. It's really more family for me. My dad's creator of the show, really, Tim Eatman. My mom, Camille Schultz, her husband, Rob, they watch every single one. My mom even called before. My wife, Julie, she listens a lot, kind of tells me to sit up straight and things like that. Got to give it to Derek Eagleton, kind of allowing this to happen and letting me leave Cowboys break and do this. He's another person that's really been very supportive. So got to put them a spot on the team as well. And all right, getting quiet here, Chris. On the set, if you sat on the set before, you're on the show. Okay, so if you've been here, so my son, Jacob Eatman, he made it one day. Josh Rodriguez came in to talk some football movies with us, and he's also been, he also helps in the back and helps get this thing on the air as well. Danny McCray, I lost a bet, had to wear an ugly purple shirt, but still, Danny McCray was there. He gets to go. Nate Newton, Nate's been wanting to get on a couple times. We've got him on. We did a really cool show with him. But Darren Woodson, when he calls in, or when he sits here and the fans call in, nothing better than that. Darren Woodson also on there. Got a few honorable mentions. Now let's go to the fans. Let's go to you guys. Let's go to the ones. Honorable mention. Can't get everyone. Like I said, 400 people. We got. I break this up into 4 groups of 8, starting with honorable mentions. I'm gonna throw this out quickly. Steve in New York, Kurt in Arkansas, Chris in Mississippi, Bob in Rio Grande Valley, Kent in New Mexico, Michael in Colton, California. Even though you yelled at me, you still got a spot. You're good. Darian in Houston. And Mike in Apopka, Florida, I put you in honorable mention. I mean, it's an honor that you've called first and last time, and that's why we're mentioning you. You're in. Honorable mention, though. Mike, Apopka, Florida, definitely want to get you in. He's already called on the show. All right, that's we can start that off. Chris, what do you think so far? Good?
You're doing a fine job in there, buddy.
Doing a fine job? Okay.
Yes, you are.
How many music beds do you got here?
I got one more.
Got one more?
We're doing good. I can loop it, so we're good.
Good.
Got a little, little hip hop going.
What you think? What you think about? I mean, there was no other producer. I mean, you're the first guy. You're on the team.
I'm one of one.
One of one.
I hope I made the team.
Hey. If
I just need the T-shirt.
We're gonna get some T-shirts. We're definitely gonna do this. I wish y'all could have seen a training camp. You saw me, like there out there in the sun and looking. All red, beat red there. But Chris, I mean, he was over on the side too. I mean, he had a little tarp over him, make sure his equipment didn't get hot or he didn't get hot. But he's out there.
It's more about the equipment than about me.
Well,
let's be honest with you.
It's okay.
Because if it overheats, we don't have a show.
Well, if we lose our producer, I don't know if we have one either. So how about equal there? All right, let's go. Now we're going to the team. These guys are on the team. I'll start this off. Third team All-StoryLine. I'm not having teams without William and Beaver, West Virginia. Okay, William, Beaver, West Virginia. William Houchins, he calls a few times. He also texted a lot when the show first started. He's been around forever. William. Reggie in Hamburg, Germany. He's called 6 times from Germany. You're not the only person that's called from out of the country, of course, but 6 times. He's called the most. If you call 6 times from Germany, you're in. Irwin, Colorado, you're in. Gary, New Mexico. Curtis in Oklahoma. David in Fort Worth. He used to call when the show first started. He called almost every day. Then he had a baby. Good excuse. Couldn't call as much. Appreciate that. Focus more at home, but he still called some. David, Fort Worth, you're in. Eric in North Carolina. And lastly on the third team, Shelby in Virginia. Shelby doesn't call all the time, but he was the one that created that fan giveaway for us for the Washington tickets. Used our show to do it. Thought that was really awesome. Great meeting him up in Washington as well. All right, that's our third team. Here we go. Now we're getting up here. Go to the second team. How about Irene in Virginia? Ali from everywhere. He's Florida. He's called from Africa, Iceland. He's a photographer that shoots all kinds of awesome stuff. And he's always got good trivia questions, a lot of energy, good stuff. Ali. How about Anthony in Florida? Caused a buzz that one show when he said, I don't need to win a Super Bowl. I've already seen one, but it was an interesting conversation, and that was cool. Anthony from Florida, always good. Tim in Grapevine. Michael, Bowling Green, Kentucky. Al in Merkel, Texas. Jeff in North Carolina. Just love hearing from Jeff all the time. Got a great attitude. Always got good questions too. And Dan from Philly on the text line. Did not want to forget the text line. You guys have been texting a lot. That's how the show started when we were out at training camp. Dan in Philly always has a lot of questions, plays along, has a former player to tell stories, that kind of stuff. Dan in Philly, you're on it too. Second team. All right, now it's time. Let's go to the first team. Chris, let's ramp up the music a little bit. Got a little something? Got a different track for me here. Got 8 guys on the team. Ooh, I hear it. All right. First team, All-StoryLine this year. We're starting it off. Ronnie in New Jersey. Haven't heard from you in a little bit, but you still called a whole lot. Lost my pen. Still called a lot. Ronnie in New Jersey, you're in. Bruce in Houston. Just called the other day. Got good takes all the time. Bruce in Houston. Sebastian in Savannah, Georgia. Got to have Sebastian on there. I'll never forget when you called in and said, I'm getting excited, but I'm going to take it one game at a time, guys. We can't look ahead of this Giants game, 40-0. Let's take it one game at a time. But if we make it to the championship game, how's that going to be? And I was just like, so much for taking it one game at a time. That was awesome. All right, Dylan, Northport Beach, Florida. His first call was November the 2nd. November the 2nd was his very first call. He's made up for it. Now he's like the fourth most calls a lot. Dylan, great stuff. Travis in San Antonio. You might be the first person I get some reaction from. Travis in San Antonio, great stuff. Always calls and always gives good insight, good opinions, thinking outside the box. Love that. All right, 3 more spots. And I think everybody kind of knows where these 3 are going because these 3, from start to finish, have been here. Joe in Stanford, my guy, Stanford, Texas. He's been calling. He was one of the first callers right off the bat. Still calls all the time. Usually was leading off the show. Joe in Stanford, great stuff. Brian in Kansas City. Just heard from him. Calls more than anyone. He's got the most calls. Has great historical trivia questions and also, old school players and stories and things like that. Really, it epitomizes what this show is. It's a storyline. Let's tell some stories. So he kind of gives me the platform to do that. But there's only one captain. That's why I said Brian might be upset, but there's only one captain. There's one captain of every team. Nobody gets referred to by other callers more than him. So, the last spot and the captain of this year's team, Rob from Vegas. Rob from Vegas, my guy. I hope he calls in today. He's the one. He really pushes, challenges me, challenges everyone else, challenges the Cowboys. Hey, let's call it like it is. So can't have a show like this if you don't have guys like that and you don't have a great squad. I apologize to the 300-something others that didn't make it on here. There's some that were tough. It was close right there at the edge. I just couldn't mention everyone. And so I hope everyone's cool with that. That's the team. That's how we see it. I showed it to Chris today. I didn't see any objections. So there we go. There we have it. That's our 23-24 all-storyline team. Again, first team. Bruce in Houston, Ronnie in New Jersey, Sebastian in Savannah, Georgia, Travis in San Antonio, Dylan in Northport Beach, Florida, Joe in Stanford, Brian in Kansas City, and Rob in Vegas. All right, Chris, we got some people on the line here.
Of course we do.
Let's do it. Is somebody that's on the team? I really don't want the first call to be somebody like missed it. All right, who we got?
Travis in San Antonio.
Good, first teamer. What's up, Travis?
Nick, what's going on?
How you doing?
I'm doing a lot better. Just wanted to say I appreciate everybody you mentioned on the support staff. Appreciate you and Chris. I was talking to him a little bit.
Yeah.
When I was on hold about how much he does as far as cut-ups go for players, as far as the draft and all that stuff. And so I really appreciate it. Like he does it, late at night and whatnot. I know there's a lot that goes into that, but I want to say congratulations to everybody else that's on the team. And I'm probably going to get my own blazer. I don't know if everybody else is going to do that, but I might get my own blazer with, like a storyline patch or something. I haven't worked it out yet. So.
Okay. What color? What color's the blazer?
I think we'd have to do like a Cowboys blue, right?
Like a blue. Yeah, I was thinking that too. You don't want to go. You don't want to go maroon. People will think you're working at the movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't want to do that. That's a bad.
Or you could do the old classic seafoam green.
Seafoam green.
Could do that. Yeah.
Or you could do gold, and people think you're going to Canton. So
yeah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that one. That might be a little much, but I feel like the navy, the navy blue, the Cowboys blue would work pretty well.
Yeah. Well, what do you got, Travis?
I just wanted to call in. Like I said, I was disappointed. You kind of already talked about it with Ray a little bit, but I know I heard Jerry's comments on the bus during the combine, and I wasn't getting my hopes up too much, but from what he was saying, I don't know if you got this kind of read, but the read that I got from it was the more and more that this goes, I have a feeling they are going to do this. All these, Mike Zimmer signed a 1-year deal. McCarthy's got one left. Dak's got one left. I feel like there's a better chance that they're going to push the money down the road, and this is going to be a 1 year. I know that might, for the pro people as far as extensions go, that might worry them. But honestly, I think if they get through the season, I think they can still get a deal done with Dak after this year. But I think they may want to just see how this goes. And for the people that may want to see, like, big changes, maybe the big changes, we do this one-year deal, and it doesn't work, and they do shift to, they say, okay, like, let's let them go test the market, even though I know that's contrary to what most people do, and maybe we reset with Trey Lance. As far as Tyron goes,
yeah,
go ahead.
I just said you're talking about next year with Trey Lance, not this year.
Yeah, not this year.
Yeah.
But as far as, because the way Jerry said it, he said, our all-in this year is going to look different as far as we're going to give other people money, which I assume is going to be Parsons an extension, and then CeeDee Lamb. We're giving new people money as opposed to the same guys, i.e. Dak. Mm-hmm. So that's what I think. As far as everybody, I know there was a poll put out as far as everybody talking about Tyron as, do they want him back or not? I was disappointed. I wanted him back. Now, maybe he still comes back because, I don't know, we seem to have a real short memory on how hard it is to find good offensive linemen. Granted, this team has done well drafting offensive linemen, but it is not, and it's a deep class in tackles. But let's not act like finding good quality starting, like we're not just going to replace Tyron with Tyron, right? Like it just doesn't happen like that. So I do think people are a little bit too quick to be like, get him out of here. I wish they would have brought him back in a one-year deal. Hopefully they still do. And then lastly, and I'll let you go, the guy, I know JPJ probably will be gone earlier than the Cowboys pick. The guy, I don't know if you've looked him up or there's been talk about him before, but is Graham Barton. He's probably he played left tackle at Duke, but he's probably going to play more of a center interior position. But I liked him coming back with Tyron because of that. Yeah. It was we talk about having Tyron at left tackle. If he goes down, what's your plan? Well, you could kick Barton out there. He's played there in college, and then you could put Hoffman or Bass in there. But we'll see what happens. But Barton's my guy.
All right. I like it.
Have a great week.
All right. You too. Thanks, Travis. First teamer, All-StoryLine calling in. A lot of stuff there. I mean, Tyron, it kind of looks like that he's done with the Cowboys. I mean, that's what I would think. But we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen left. I think that, like you said, a Graham Barton from Duke. The draft is going to give you. I mean, they're going to take an offensive lineman in the first or two rounds, or both, really. And then once you do that, then you can kind of see, all right, what are we going to do? Do we take if you found a great left tackle, a great value there? Then I think we know where Tyler Smith is going to be. If you got a center guard type guy. Maybe, and you like what Bass is doing and Hoffman's doing, then I think maybe you do push Tyler Smith out to left tackle. So those guys right there, I think it'll kind of see, it helps to have some versatility in Tyler Smith to kind of see what happens in free agency in the draft and then what you have to do from there. All right, let's go to Ronnie in Florida.
Hey, Nick, how you doing?
Hey, Ronnie, how are you doing?
Good. I hope everything is well with you and your family.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate you taking my call. I apologize if I'm talking about something that's already been talked about today, but I'm not tuning into the broadcast because of complications.
Go for it.
I do think that we ran the ball fairly well, and we stopped the run at some times, but we want to get to the point that when we need to run the ball, we can run the ball.
Yeah.
Okay, and it reminds me of the second Super Bowl in the 90s when we came out the second half when Noah Turner said, Jimmy, what do you want to do? I want to run the ball.
Right.
And they gave it to Emmett, and we scored. We ended up, 8 plays later, we was in the end zone. As far as stopping the run, we go back to the first Super Bowl. Down on the goal line, 3 downs. Ken Norton on the second down, stopped the runner from going in the end zone. I don't know if that was Thurman Thomas or the other guy, but the next play, Thomas Everett intercepted the ball.
Sure did.
So our timely efforts when we need to run it and we need to stop it is what's missing from our offense and our defense. However we get back to that point, offensive line, defensive tackle, or whatever, but we need to try to get back to that standard and stay there, because in the big games we're exposed, and those are the two areas that we're exposed at.
Yep, you're not wrong, Ronnie.
Yes,
at all.
Yes, and
so,
and I have one other thing I wanted to ask you about. Then I hang up.
All right.
A while back, when Rod Marinelli was the defensive coordinator, and he was good friends with Taylor. I guess she was on the broadcast one day with you and David Hellman.
Taylor Stern.
And I don't know if I don't know what time of year it was, but it reminded me of the Scouting Combine, because David Hellman was he was talking like he was Rod Marinelli, and he was doing the scouting report.
Oh, yeah.
So Bigfoot came up. So when he did his interpretation of Bigfoot, Rod Marinelli doing the scouting report on Bigfoot, and your interpretation was coming out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Comes out of nowhere, okay? And I thought of two more for you.
Okay.
2 steps to the quarterback, swipes well with both hands.
Okay.
Groans when he swipes.
I don't think anybody knows what you're talking about right now. I'm going to have to clarify this, but yes. Yeah, okay. All right, good. Thank you, Ronnie.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. If you're a little bit lost there, here's what he's talking about. And it was basically David or myself doing like an impression of another producer that actually was doing an impression of Rod Marinelli, and how he's always just his press, he's like, oh sure, oh yeah, and it's just the way I can't do it, but it was like, I'm sure, well, what do you think about Bigfoot? He's like, strong, tall, hairy, mean, swipes with both hands, stuff like that. That's what he's talking about. I can't do it justice, but it was, David was doing it, and some other guys, and so that's really what that was Rod Marinelli talking about evaluating players, and if Bigfoot was in the draft. All right, let me throw one more thing out there real quick before we get the next caller. I think that there's a lot of talk about all in, okay, and Jerry made the statement all in. I really believe that Jerry made that statement, and in his mind, it's not okay, you're sitting at the table and I like my hand, I like the 2 kings I've got, and I'm pushing in, I'm going all in with this one. We're going all in on this season. Nothing else matters. We're going in. I really believe that Jerry is thinking of this year, that he is all in, that they've been all in, and that's what this season is they are all in right now. They've already pushed the chips in. You and me, we look at it like, well, it's about to be free agency. Let's do something different. They're looking at it like, this is it. We've been all in the last couple of years. I mean, look at what they've done with these contracts. That's why they keep kicking the can down the road. They're at this point, and now you're sitting with 1-year deals on your head coach and your defensive coordinator, and really your quarterback, and some other guys too that are. This is pretty much it. And it's not what fans want to hear, but that's the reality. And that's why when Jerry said you have a different definition of all in than I do, I think in their mind they feel like they are. Like this is it. They got to make this thing happen this year. And they don't really have the money to go do more. They've done it. They've done a lot. They've done more than they normally do. It's not, but the problem is they haven't won. That's it. That's the problem. They've gone, I don't love the term all in, but they have been aggressive. They've spent money. They've got this team where it is, and they didn't win. And they lost to the Packers in a really bad fashion last year. But I think they believe, instead of they're going all in, is they are. And they hope that they get the cards that they want here, and which is, this season. All right, Rob in Vegas, the captain.
Hey, Nick. How are you?
How you doing?
Oh, it was awesome. I was telling Chris I love the music. The music got me jacked up.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah.
I thought it was great. You know,
appreciate
like
you,
I
Rob.
said,
I appreciate you. Let me just say it before you say something mean. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just saying. But I appreciate you. I appreciate the calls and the consistency. I've switched the time of the show, and some of you guys, it didn't even blink. Just keep calling. I love it.
Listen, I've said this before. I love the show. I grew up in New York with Mike and the Mad Dog, and you would just hear the passion of the fans. And then, you know, talk radio went another route where they would just talk, but they didn't want to take any calls. And you kind of brought back old school, and I just think it's great. I wish all the success for you and Chris. I think you could see this show is just taking off because fans want to be heard, and I don't know, maybe it's because I'm Italian. I like the banter. I just like it. I'll try to write stuff out so I kind of know what I'm talking about. I look at like Chris is the head coach. You're Troy Aikman, and I'm Michael Irvin. If I could do that.
All right.
You know, I just love it.
On the field, I hope, right? I mean,
yes. Maybe in my young days, I was like I'm off the field somewhat.
Fur coat, Rob.
Well, maybe not the fur coat, but
nice.
but now I'm 56, so those days are over. But no, I just love the show, and
thank you.
The fans, and like I said, I like the fans. I like listening to all of them, and I'm not on Twitter or anything like that. My wife says, no, you can't go on that. You'll be on your phone all day. But I just enjoy it. I look forward to the show. I look forward to everything. And, and listen, we'll see what happens with this team. I think we know it all in. I think you said it right. I kind of said it. This team is not going to go break the bank. They'll make some little moves like they always do. I think he'll, like you said, they're a good team. If they could tweak it, if the defensive coordinator Zimmer could make them play a little better in certain situations, hey, that's an improvement. You got the parts there,
right?
And we'll know. We're going to know in a week or so what they're going to do with Dak. And I don't think they'll do anything. I don't think they'll kick it down the line. I guess they restructured. What's his name? This morning I saw Zach Martin to free up some money.
Yeah.
So listen, this is fake money, on the salary. They could do whatever they want. They could go sign whoever they want. They can manipulate whatever they want to do. So signing Dak, like Jerry said, we don't have to do it, and I don't think they're going to do it. I think they'll wait. And I'm okay with it. Hey, if he proves us wrong, we benefit. What do we care? I don't care if he gets $70 million.
Yeah.
But no, I just wanted to call in and thank you. And I can't wait to next year. I'll be calling in all the time, and I just think the show is fantastic, and I just hope it goes through the roof.
I love that. So do I. But thank you for the call, Rob. I appreciate it. I call him the captain of our All-StoryLine team. There hasn't been more other callers that say, I think it. Rob thinks it. Rob said this, and I saw Rob the other day say this, and I just think. Everyone's got their own opinion and their own way of doing it, but I think you speak for a higher majority of the fan base maybe than others, and not afraid to say it. And you just hear the true fan, because it's like I say all the time, the season's a roller coaster. I mean, there's good parts, there's bad parts, there's loops, there's flips, there's times where you want to throw up. There's times where you're like, let's do it again. That's what a really good roller coaster is, and that's what this team, that's what it is for this season and really for the last 20-something years. And so it's kind of cool to see the emotions. I've heard calls from Rob when you're almost done. Like, I can't do this anymore. Then you're like, sign me up again for next week. And so that's just kind of that's just what being a fan is all about. And I'm there too. I with my college teams. Like after a loss, I'm just like, I don't care. I'm not going to watch next week. Next Saturday, we're done. We're terrible. I'm not going to watch them. And then and then on Monday, you're just like, don't care. Maybe Tuesday, you're like, Yeah, they play at 11, but we'll see, you know. And then by Friday, you're just like, all right, you know, I'm wearing my shirt, I got my eye black on, I'm ready. I mean, it's just it. I mean, that's what being a fan is. It kind of sucks you back in. All right, Ali in Florida.
Good morning, Mr. Eatman.
Good morning, Ali.
Congratulations. Thank you so much. I'm honored.
Yep.
And I'm floored. I didn't expect it. Congratulations to Chris.
Yeah.
And congratulations to Rob.
Yeah. Well, you guys are all on the team. I mean, you're on the team. I said it the other day. I was blown away by a question from you. You know, about trading back scenarios and really specific and things like that, and knowing all the stuff that you do. It really does. I mean, I've heard a lot of people say this has a very, very knowledgeable fan base, and it's so true. I mean, you guys are the guys that call in on this show. You guys are absolutely so knowledgeable. It's amazing.
I appreciate it. You know, Nick, as a fan, we have pride as well.
Yeah.
When you go to the gathering, the place, and you always expose yourself as a Cowboy fan, and it hurts our feeling too because, it's not easy to be a Cowboy fan. Honest to God, I've been watching the Cowboys since '77, and you have ups and downs, and you know, but it's part of the price you pay. But the thing is, Rob, you know, you're so right. Rob said something on the last show that fans start turning on Jerry. I never thought about it. After he hung up, and I said to myself, I love Jerry. I appreciate everything he's done. But I think it's kind of irresponsible. You come in to get us our hope up with all in and don't do nothing. I hope that's not the case. But that's one. Second, I was thinking why Dak's agent got the best of Jerry and Steven. With all that experience, the part bothers me, he doesn't have any trade clause. I said, what kind of deal is that? But having said that, thank you, Nick. I got one small trivia for you.
Okay.
To hang up, I'll let everybody else go. How many first-round defensive linemen Cowboys been drafted from Michigan?
How many from Michigan? Defensive linemen?
Yeah.
I would say I can only name 3.
Exactly.
Is there 3?
You're right.
All right.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Taco?
It was Taco and Mauzy and Kevin Brooks.
Kevin Brooks, that's right.
And you know, that the last thing, every time I see J.J. Watt, I feel like I'm getting a root canal because Cowboys picked Taco, and this year, of all year,
T.J. Watt,
the least we could afford to have a first-round draft pick doesn't participate.
Right.
That's what we left our God. I love you, brother.
All right. Thank you, Ali. Thank you.
We're going to make our own little department.
All right. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Right. Yeah, Kevin Brooks in like 85. I think he was the first player to ever wear number 99. They didn't give out in the 90s much early on in Cowboys history. And I don't know really the reason why, but he was drafted in like mid-80s, 85, 86, something like that. Then, of course, Mauzy and Taco. So hasn't really turned out well for the first-round picks from Michigan, obviously. But, you know, we're talking, you know, they're not connected to each other. They probably didn't even play on the same staffs and all that. So I think sometimes it's a little bit of a coincidence. But that's going on.
You're amazing.
Why?
Kevin Brooks, first guy to wear 99.
Is that right?
Yep, 1985.
Got a lot of useless knowledge, Chris.
I mean,
you know?
Yeah.
Doesn't help me in my life. Unless I'm going to one day do a show like this where awesome Cowboy fans that have the same useless knowledge call and ask me questions like that. You know?
It's funny, though.
I mean, we've done it before.
I was like, I know that media guy's probably underneath you right now. So I was like, let me look that up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Chris will do that. Like, he'll throw the media guide out there, and he'll be like, 1988, Washington,
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah. But I can do it in the 80s and 90s. But then you're like, last year, I'm like, I don't know. I don't remember. Like the Bills, I don't remember really the score of some of those games. But I can tell you scores of like 1994 and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know why that is. Bill in New Haven, Connecticut.
Hey, Nick, what's going on, brother?
Hey, Bill, how you doing?
Hey, you had the hotline blinging, man. I had to call about 50 times to get through, but that's a good problem to have, right?
But you did it. That's awesome. Yeah, good problem to have. What's going on with you?
I just wanted to say, the other day, you made a comment about how the interviews before the draft were the most useless thing that they ever had.
Press conference. The press conference before the draft, not the interviews with players. I'm talking about the press conference with the media.
Gotcha. And that leads me into my comment about Steven about a week ago. When you hear the owner or the GM talk as a sports fan, you know that they have to conceal certain things because they can't show their hands. They can't tell you everything with regards to contract negotiations and things like that. But personally, one thing that gets me frustrated is when an owner, a GM, will say something that is almost patronizing to the fan base. And Steven was asked last week about, obviously, comments Jerry made about being all in. And his answer was, and again, he said it tongue-in-cheek, so you got to give him a little leeway there. But he said, I don't remember an offseason where Jerry isn't all in. Now, I know he's talking about from a financial commitment, but Steven is also smart enough to know that that's not what the fan base is taking it as. And again, this is premature because things still have to play out, and I could very well be calling back next week, 2 weeks, eating crow with a smile on my face. But when I hear comments like that from Steven or even Jerry when he's talking on his bus about, being all in means not drafting a quarterback, it's just hard for me to be optimistic. And I'm not a guy that blames Jerry or is pessimistic about the team by nature, but just sometimes the comments they say make it hard for me to really myself be all in, no pun intended.
Yeah.
But my question for you is, I've heard you say that you think they're going to do something this offseason. Maybe not what the fans want, some big name. But if they don't, and they just have a general, sign guys on the peripheral, bargain shoppers, maybe they get, will you consider that? Will you be disappointed? And do you think that they're making a mistake? And I'd love to hear your answer.
Okay. Thanks, Bill. I think I have said all that, and I'm in the past. But as I get a little closer to this and kind of heard more things and see where they are, like I'm not going to be. I'm already disappointed. I'm already disappointed based off of what I've heard. I don't think they're going to do anything, and I'm disappointed by that. I think that they are in a really, really bad salary cap situation. And I'll say this again, okay? Just so this is not a math class here because I certainly wouldn't be the one teaching it. But what I'm saying is it was a very easy contract to look at where they gave to Dak. 4 years, $160 million. $40 million a year. That's what he is going to get, $40 million a year. If you look at the cap charges, it was $10 million, $20 million, $20 million, $25 million. None of that was ever $40 million. So what do you think happens here at the end? It's sitting at 59, and then next year it's going to be a ton of dead money. That's the problem. That's why when they say, you're going to hear people say they sort of have been all in, it's not what you want to hear, but it's the approach of let's push Dak's money back here. Oh, Zach's going to hold out. We got to get Zach in here. Get Zach. Let's give him this, but let's push it down here. We got to get Tank. We got to restructure Tank. Let's push it down here. Brandon Cooks, we trade for him. That's good. Let's don't count a whole lot this year. Let's push some down here. There's been some others as well. And a lot of teams do it. But what you what you don't see is, usually when that team has that big drop off, it's because they've done things like this, and you just have to, like the Rams have done it. But the Rams won a Super Bowl. Everyone's fine with that. Cowboys went for it. They didn't win. And so that's kind of where they are. They still have good enough players to compete this year, but they're gonna need to draft well. They're going to need some young guys to develop. I mean, you're going to have to do it a different way than you have in the past. Jeff in North Carolina.
What's up, Nick?
What's up, Jeff?
How you doing, brother?
Good, man.
Oh, man, I couldn't believe I told Chris, I said I would probably been happy to be honorable mention, man. That second team, that's great, though, man.
Second team. Yeah.
Wow, how about that? Well, that'll give me a goal to push for first team next year now. So that's great, though, man.
Nobody.
I always thought, go ahead.
Nobody puts a bigger smile on my face than you when you call. It just it is. I don't know why. I don't know. It's always been that way. It's kind of, I guess, where we grow up. But I've lived in Oklahoma, Arkansas, Texas, and had school kind of in West Texas, and just that accent is just, I know you're from North Carolina, so you're not a Texas accent, but it's still just a how we doing, let's go down yonder type. I don't know. It's just, you say the word reckon. I reckon.
I do say reckon. A lot of times I say, you talking about kids, I say youngins.
Youngins, yeah. Yeah, there you go.
So that's just me, man. But I still appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I always thought, I didn't know if you'd have categories for your team or not. But I thought, maybe I was the high motor person. I mean, like you talk about players that have high motors, that might be me because I get so excited. Quick little story. When I was probably about 12 or 13, I was watching the Cowboys. I think we was playing Washington, and it was either late 70s, early 80s, but we were behind. Well, it's a Sunday afternoon after lunch, so my dad's sitting in the recliner asleep, and all of a sudden Bush Johnson catches a long touchdown pass, and we go ahead. I jump up, get excited, and wakes my dad up. He jumps up, cuts the TV off. He's mad because I woke him up, and it just broke my heart. And I went in there a little bit, and after a while, he said, "I'll come back in and turn it on." But and I think we end up winning the game. But that's just kind of the way I've always been. I get excited about things and
that's cool
stuff. But I appreciate being on the team.
Yeah.
I don't really have that much to talk about today, except I did see the comments Dalton Schultz made the other day, and I think it's just kind of sour grapes. And I noticed he didn't make those comments till after he signed a new deal with Houston, So, but I thought it was kind of sour grapes, and I'm with it. Rob and everybody else I don't think we're going to do much next week. I think everybody's on this 1-year deal, and maybe Pollard comes back. I wonder though, what your thoughts are. If we draft a bell cow in the draft, would they put Pollard back on in his role as coming off the bench?
I would love that, And it doesn't necessarily have to be in that order. You can kind of flip it around. I mean, you're talking about a youngin, like you said, a running back doesn't have to come in and start. But I think a combination of a bigger back and also Pollard. I mean, I think less is more with Tony Pollard. Give him a little bit less, you're going to get more. I like Tony. I really do. I have a lot of respect for him. He doesn't look like a running back, his body type. Plays a lot, doesn't get hurt. He's a willing blocker. He's not great at it, but he's willing. He's not afraid of anything. And I like him. I think if you had a little bit more of a running back with him, like you had with Zeke, I think they'd be better. But, thanks, Jeff. Thanks for the call.
All right, brother. Have a good day.
Appreciate it. Yeah, he mentioned the Schultz comments. I talked about it yesterday on Hanging with the Boys. But, but it's not the first time that's happened. Cole Beasley did the same thing, goes to Buffalo and talks about how, the culture here, they just want to win, and it's not about anything else. And, it's exhausting to hear that. But I just see it actually not too long ago from Schultz and called it a zoo. it's just funny. That's funny that Schultz would say that. But it's whatever. I mean, it's just the Houston Texans have it figured out. They know how to win. They're all about winning. I mean, didn't they win one game 2 years ago, and then they've turned it around, and that's good for them. But I mean, it's just yeah. What's their media guide look like? Pamphlet. I mean, seriously, it's just different. Like good for them. They won. They're turning things around. They got a young team, exciting. Expectations are very, very low because they're the Texans. That's good. And he can say that. And he can go and blast the Cowboys because of the one time he was in the weight room and someone banged on the glass. I mean, that's silly to me. But that's Schultz. That's what he's always been. So that I wouldn't expect anything else. Good for him. Cowboys, though, good move. He didn't sign the deal. Worked out great for the Cowboys. Maybe it worked out great for him. He gets to go on a football-focused Houston Texans team, and the Cowboys have Jake Ferguson, who I think is going to be a better player. I think he is a better player. So works out great for everybody. All right, Champ in the 308. That's Nebraska. Champ.
Hey, Nick. How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Not bad. Dealing with some more snow up here. I think the last time I talked to you was right before the playoff game that Friday, and we were dealing with a bunch of snow. Well, it's snowing again today.
Oh, well, I bet you were in a better mood on that Friday than you were the next Monday or Tuesday.
I was very hopeful that Friday, and I'm calling because earlier you were talking about being a fan and of the frustration, and that's kind of what we talked about that day. I was telling you how I'd been a fan, for years. My dad, my brother, we get together, watch the games and stuff, and we got together that Sunday and went through the emotions, the disappointment, the anger, and whatnot. And, it took a couple days, but, hey, we're fans, man. There was a call earlier talking about how Jerry's bottom line is money and all that. Well, yes, he's a businessman, but that's not going to stop me from buying my jersey if I want my jersey. I'm going to support. Whether we're 13-3 or 13-4, 4-13, I'm going to support. That's my team. I love these guys. They break my heart, but I'm going to support them no matter what.
Yeah.
And I just want to congratulate you on your show, man.
Thanks.
This is a great show.
Thanks.
So I was a late bloomer coming to it. I'm pretty loyal to Talking Cowboys. I listened to that. But about halfway through the season, I was like, let me check this out. And it's a great show. I love it. I love the interaction with all the fans that you have.
Well,
so
thank you so much. And, the design, when we talked about it, it was really supposed to be a 30-minute show. But then once the calls kind of blew up, there's no way. I mean, I hate having to end the show after an hour. But the idea was to find a time slot that would work where really people like you wouldn't have to make any decisions. I don't want that. Keep listening to The Break. Keep listening to Talking Cowboys. Keep listening to Hanging with the Boys. Any of the show. I don't want to leave any of them out. They're all great. Players Lounge.
They're all great.
Yeah. But hold on. Let me get them all because Girls Talk, Boys Talk, and Nick Shots. I think that's all of the regular ones.
Don't forget Hanging with the Boys.
Hanging with the Boys, of course. I was just on with them the other day. But my point is that I think what Derek has done he had just a hodgepodge of different opinions and mix them in together.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I've been on pretty much every show, I think, at some point, and they just all have a different vibe. They're talking about the same thing on a Monday after a game, but they kind of attack it in different ways, and so it's for everyone. But this show is one where it's for y'all. It's for y'all
for the fans, yes, and that's what we appreciate.
And I say it. I'm not judging jury here. I mean, y'all have had opinions. It's happened here where I'm like, I totally have a different opinion. I'm like, you know what? But I agree with you. So I try to do that. I think I just bounce things off, but I'm certainly not the guy that has the answers. So if I had the answers, I'd send them upstairs and maybe we'd be in the NFC Championship game, or in the Super Bowl a little bit. But let me say this about Jerry, though. Jerry, I mean, of course, bottom line, everybody focuses on the bottom line. But at the same time, like, they want to win. Like he put this team together to go win. He wants to win more than anybody.
Absolutely,
he does want to win. And the fact that they're not signing players next week, it doesn't mean that they don't. I mean, they would love to get some of those guys, but they have made commitments to their own players and that they drafted. And this is what happens when you have 9 to 10 Pro Bowlers. It means you have a good team. It also means a lot of these guys want to get paid well, and you can't do it all.
We can't do that.
And that's just the problem. It's not an excuse. I'm disappointed. I'll be disappointed to see all these guys. And the Eagles and the Giants, and they'll get some good players. Washington will get a lot of good players. But, at the end of the day, the Cowboys, they have a good team, and hopefully they're not gutted here. Yeah. All right.
Well, again, congratulations. And you've given me a goal for next year, that All-StoryLine team.
Get on the team.
I'm coming for it. That's right.
All right, guys. Yeah, thank you.
Take care, Nick.
Appreciate it. There's some honorable mentions here. Some on the third team that there's a few people I haven't heard from in a while. Hope everyone's okay. But I haven't heard from in a while, and a lot of it is some of the success we have with the callers. Like, it's hard to get in. I mean, I've heard that, and that's actually it's a good problem to have. All right, Randy in San Antonio. Randy.
Hey, how you doing? I have a question about the free agent running backs and how much money do you think they're going to get? I'm interested in what Henry and Barkley will get compared to Pollard.
Yeah.
It seems like if they really want to get that running game going, I don't know if it's that they could do it where they could maybe get Barkley, and I don't know how much money they would command.
Yeah, that once you put the franchise tag on someone like they did like last year, a lot of times that kind of in their mind sets the market of where they are. So if you want to give them a deal, it's like, well, it's got to average 11, 12 or whatever. Now, they didn't get the franchise tag this year. And like Pollard, I don't see Pollard in a $10 million range. I see Pollard more in a, 2-year, $15 million, something like that. 2-year, $12 million. But I think Barkley and Henry and maybe Josh Jacobs will probably get, I would guess north of 10. I mean, that's what happens when the cap goes up. Cap goes up. Teams have a lot of money. They can go and do that. They can money whip Saquon Barkley if they want to, and that's why I just don't think the Cowboys can compete with that.
Yeah, it's real interesting there because I don't know if the difference in the money that I think they could do it. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
I just think the Cowboys are going to, like I've said many times before, I think they're going to be strapped with the cap. Pollard potentially, and Pollard's going to get an opportunity to see what's out there. And if Pollard, he went to Super Bowl week, Radio Row, I'm sure that was at a request from his agent. He's never been a big media guy, but I mean, they're trying to see what's out there. They're making a name for him. They just saw a list on NFL Network pop up, 7 running backs. He's one of them. So he'll get some money. He might get more than what the Cowboys could do, but I think if it turns out and he says, well, if I can get this from the Cowboys, this might be a better situation for me. I not only know the offense, but I probably have a better chance to play more and start because of what they don't have right now at running back.
Yeah.
All right, Randy.
Okay.
Thanks for the call. Appreciate
You're
that.
welcome.
All right. Let's go to Eddie. He's in Virginia Beach.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie.
Yes.
What's up? You on?
Oh, I'm on? Oh, man. Wow. First time caller, man. I didn't know that.
You know what that means? Here we go.
All right. Yeah, I just wanted to comment on it, man, because I'm actually originally from Texas, but I've been a Cowboy fan since 1970.
Okay.
And, and I go way back when they won the Super Bowl, when they beat the Dolphins, and they had Dwayne Thomas. And that was my first jersey ever, number 33. I remember I bought that when I was a kid.
Oh, cool.
But, I had to say one thing about being a Cowboy fan. It's almost like a bad relationship, being in love with someone that you just can't stand. And that's what I wanted to say about that. And, it's heartbreaking, but I'm going to hang on forever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, well, that's. I mean, I don't know if you can say it better than that. You're right. I don't know about you just can't stand, but they frustrate you. They frustrate you. You wish they would just do this different, but that's who they are. They're not going to change. And, you want them to change. You want things to change and hope one day that they will. And there's not the same. You can't compare it all the way like that. But I know what you're saying. It's just a frustrating relationship, toxic at times. But, you can't look away because, on the best day, it'll be worth it.
Yeah, I know. And my daughter and I sit back and when we talked a while back about being a Cowboy fan, and I do require that my daughters, their boyfriends or husband, whoever they be, are Cowboy fans. That's the only way we can make it in my home.
Well, I appreciate that, and I know the Cowboys do as well. And it's tough. One of the callers said earlier, it's not easy being a Cowboy fan, especially right now, especially when you got all these shows out there that they're making their money for beating up on the Cowboys. That's what they do. They make them relevant so they can build them up so you can tear them down. That's kind of the way it works. So it's not easy being a Cowboy fan because the fans that aren't Cowboy fans, they go right in on it. It's easy. It's like the Yankees.
But anyway, thanks a lot, and I appreciate you taking my call.
All right, thank you, Eddie, Virginia Beach, first-time caller. I kind of think Randy in San Antonio might have been a first-time caller. If so, we could give him. If not, that's cool. You get an extra one. All right. Well, that was fun. Appreciate that. Appreciate everyone all year long. This is not our last show. We'll be here next Tuesday, of course. But once we roll over into the new year, then that's it just wasn't a good time to do this other than today. If we did it earlier, or we did it next week. More of the focus is going to be on what the Cowboys were doing or not doing. I understand that. I had to do that here on Friday. So one more time, let me just kind of throw this out one more time on our honorable mentions. Steve in New York, Chris in Mississippi, Kurt in Arkansas, Bob, Rio Grande Valley, Kent in New Mexico, Michael, Colton, California, Darren in Houston, Mike in Apopka, Florida, who called today. Third team, All-StoryLine, William in Beaver, West Virginia, Reggie in Germany, Shelby in Virginia, Irwin in Colorado, Gary in New Mexico, Curtis in Oklahoma, David in Fort Worth, Eric in North Carolina. Our second team, Irene in Virginia, Ali in Florida and everywhere else, Anthony in Florida, or Anthony's in Miami, actually, Jeff in North Carolina, Tim in Grapevine, Texas, Michael Bowling Green, Kentucky, Al in Merkel, Texas, Dan in Philly. He's always hitting up on the text line. And the first teamers, Bruce in Houston, Ronnie in New Jersey, Sebastian in Savannah, Georgia, Travis in San Antonio, Dylan in Northport Beach, Florida, Joe in Stamford, Texas, Brian in Kansas City, Rob in Vegas. Rob is the captain of our team this year. It's been so much fun. And we're going to flip it over to next year, starting clean. And some of you guys that called in today want to get on, do it.
I heard from David in Fort Worth on text line today, by the way.
Okay.
Your guy from David in Fort Worth.
Yeah, love David.
So thank you for mentioning me. I listen every day, but cannot call in.
Yeah, good. I understand
why. Someday he can make we'll make the storyline ring, like a telephone ring of honor.
Oh,
I like that.
Storyline ring of honor.
Yeah.
Interesting. As my dad would say, you guys are all storyline backers. Backing the show. Good stuff. All right, we will end it there. I think the calls are open. We went a little bit overtime today. Chris, appreciate you coming in. Friday's supposed to be your day to chill, and I appreciate you coming in and do that, and also everything that you've done all year long. Gives the coin there. All right, so we'll see you next Tuesday. We'll be on Tuesday. It'll be the day before start of free agency, but I'm sure there'll be a lot of stuff happening right there. So for Chris Beam, I'm Nick Eatman. Thank you to all you guys out there, the All-StoryLiners. We will see you next week on Cowboys Storyline.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this,